Hello and welcome to the presentation portion of my modelling module. My name is Josiah Granger and my UP numbers there. So I started out with the planning stage where I did a rough block out and I blocked out the body, but I later didn't actually use it because it wasn't shown at all. I only used the hands, but I felt it was kind of good to get a block out of the body itself down so I could get the proportions out. I also did sketches to help me match with the proportions, as well as some like very vague clothing drawn over it, so I knew like kind of where the clothes would fall in relation to the proportions. I also did this head sketch up here just so I could get the ideas for the face and especially the cap and the goggles down, and I was kind of going for this gorillas sort of style, you know, with the white eyes, and then kind of like gorillas have very specific like facial features, the band does, and I tried to, you know, kind of capture that in the final model. And then I also did some different ideas for clothing. I ended up not sticking with them. Like I modeled this whole jacket, sculpted it, and I even did the retopology for it, but I ended up just not using it because it didn't really fit with the final look, and I decided to go, you know, fully lean more into like the band sort of gorillas angle I was going for, that I tried to capture in the style as well. As for the modelling, I modelled a lighthouse to go with my character as its object to go with it. You know, the lighthouse is a iconic like thing from the Gorillaz music videos, from the Feel Good Inc. video. I also modelled this cap, again inspired by more designs from Gorillaz, and I actually used a retopology method to model it. So I modelled these more simplistic cylinder shapes, and then I would recreate the topology so I could extrude certain parts out. So like this the square bit coming out the middle of the headphones, and this like the bottom bit of the headphones were, you know, kind of retopologized and then extruded, yeah, to get those shapes. Same here with the shoe as well. I kind of like retopologized. I had a very simple shoe shape, and then I retopologized so I had this Nike logo and all these little, you know, grip bits at the bottom of the shoe. Again, for the retopology of the face, I did it several times, and I managed to get some good edge loops around the eyes, and you know, I tried to follow the structure of retopology, which made UV unwrapping a lot easier, because I had a lot more simple topology, and I didn't do this in TB1 really for the robot, and I really appreciated it this round because it made UV unwrapping so much easier, and I think the textures look a lot better this time around. As for UV unwrapping, like I said, I think I've improved greatly since TB1. I was able to follow seams this time in clothing, which allowed for really high quality textures, and I went for like a more plasticky, fine, normal map, so it looked more like a toy in the final render. Like I was kind of going for a super plastic type toy, from what I was inspired by, and I even did some line art on this Gorillaz. Again, it's a Gorillaz inspired t-shirt from one of their music videos, which I ended up going with over the jacket because it fit the theme more. And then yeah, there's the UVs for the cap as well. You can see I've got a bit of a dusty mask to kind of again add to that whole like plastic toy feel. As for the rigging, you know, pretty standard simple rig. I did rig the hands fully, but I ended up not really needing them for my final render pose. Pretty standard. And for the diorama itself, you know, it's many of the same processes over again. I did the retopology for the whole island, and then yeah, I modeled some simple trees, and I used a lazy UV method to kind of just put a gradient over the leaves. I thought it gave a better effect, and then I just used a mesh network for the grass, which I think ended up looking really good. And the yeah, the windmill itself was just all modelled and using curves, some of it as well, like the actual hands of the windmill were modelled using curves and a sweep mesh, which I think turned out quite effective. Thank you for listening, and here's the two kind of final studio renders.